You slept a full 8 hours last night, maybe even 9. You hit snooze twice, dragged yourself out of bed, grabbed your coffee, and yet you still feel absolutely exhausted. Not just tired, depleted. Like your brain is running on 2% battery and someone's asking you to render a 4K video. You look at your to-do list and feel nothing. No motivation, no clarity, just this heavy fog that won't lift no matter how much caffeine you throw at it. Here's the thing, you're not lazy, you're not broken, and you're definitely not alone. I spend way too much time thinking about why we're all walking around like zombies despite sleeping more than our grandparents ever did. If you've been struggling with this constant bone-deep exhaustion that sleep just doesn't fix, the next few minutes will change everything. I'm going to show you exactly why this happens and what actually works to fix it. No fluff, just science. Find a quiet spot, stay until the end, and if this finally clicks for you, let me know by hitting the like button. Okay, let's start now. Look, we've been sold a lie. Society has convinced us that rest equals sleep. Get your 8 hours, maybe take a nap, and boom, you're recharged. But that's like saying the only way to charge your phone is by plugging it in once a day and expecting the battery, the processor, the screen, and the camera to all magically recover at the same rate. Your brain doesn't work that way. According to Dr. Sandra Dalton-Smith, a physician and researcher who studied burnout for over 2 decades, there are actually 7 distinct types of rest that our brains and bodies desperately need. And here's what most people don't realize. You can be caught up on sleep and still be running a massive rest deficit in 6 other critical areas. A 2023 study from the American Psychological Association found that 77% of people experience physical symptoms caused by stress. And get this, 62% report feeling exhausted even after adequate sleep. That's not a sleep problem, that's a rest problem. Think about it this way. Imagine you're playing a video game where your character has 7 different health bars: physical, mental, emotional, social, creative, sensory, and spiritual. Now, you've been grinding for weeks, only healing your physical health bar every night. What happens to the other 6? They're blinking red, and you're wondering why you keep dying even though you're technically rested. This is where it gets really interesting. Let me break down these 7 types of rest and show you which ones you're probably neglecting right now. Type 1, physical rest. This is the obvious one, sleep and naps. But here's the twist. Physical rest also includes passive activities like yoga, stretching, and even getting a massage. Your muscles don't just need downtime, they need active recovery. If you sit at a desk for 8 hours, then collapse on the couch for 4 more, you're not resting, you're calcifying. Type 2, mental rest. Now, you might be thinking, but Sahil, I zone out on TikTok for hours. That's mental rest, right? Wrong. Scrolling is mental distraction, not rest. Mental rest means giving your overworked prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and focus, a genuine break. This looks like taking short breaks every 90 minutes during work, keeping a notepad by your bed to dump racing thoughts, or simply staring out a window without your phone. A Microsoft study found that our brains can only maintain peak focus for about 90 minutes before cognitive performance drops significantly. Yet we try to power through 4-hour work blocks and wonder why we feel fried. Type 3, sensory rest. Here's the thing most people don't realize. Your brain is processing 11 million bits of information per second from your environment. The fluorescent lights, the notification sounds, the background TV, the hum of the AC, the 17 browser tabs you have open. It's all data your brain is desperately trying to manage. Sensory rest means intentionally unplugging, turning off screens an hour before bed, sitting in a quiet, dimly lit room, going for a walk without headphones. I know, it sounds boring, but your nervous system is literally begging for this. Type 4, creative rest. Now this one is sneaky because it affects people who don't even consider themselves creative. Every time you solve a problem at work, come up with a meal plan, or figure out how to word a difficult text message, you're using creative energy. Creative rest means exposing yourself to beauty and inspiration without having to produce anything. Going to a museum, hiking in nature, listening to music without working, just absorbing. It's about being a consumer instead of a creator for a while. Type 5, emotional rest. Look, if you're the person everyone vents to, if you're constantly managing other people's feelings at work or at home, if you say, "I'm fine" when you're absolutely not, you're running an emotional rest deficit. Emotional rest means having the space and permission to be authentic. To say, "I'm struggling," without immediately following it up with, "but it's fine." To set boundaries without guilt. To not be the strong one for once. Research from the University of California found that emotional suppression, constantly hiding how you really feel, increases stress hormones by up to 30% and significantly impairs memory and decision-making. Type 6. Social rest. Now this gets counterintuitive. Social rest doesn't mean becoming a hermit. It means differentiating between relationships that energize you and relationships that drain you. You know those friends where after you hang out, you feel lighter? That's restorative. Then there's those interactions, maybe that demanding coworker or that family member who always needs something, where you feel exhausted afterward. That's depleting. Social rest means being intentional about spending more time with givers and less time with takers. And yes, sometimes social rest means being alone. Not lonely, alone. There's a huge difference. Type 7. Spiritual rest. Now, before you click away thinking this is about religion, hear me out. Spiritual rest is about connecting to something bigger than yourself and your daily problems. For some people, that's faith. For others, it's volunteering, meditation, being in nature, or deep philosophical conversations. It's the antidote to the existential exhaustion that comes from the hamster wheel of work, consume, sleep, repeat. A 2019 study in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that people who regularly engage in activities that provide a sense of purpose and meaning report 40% lower rates of burnout. So here's what actually works. Step 1. Diagnose your deficit. Pull out your phone right now, right now, and rate yourself from 1 to 10 in each of these 7 areas. Which ones are below a 5? Those are your critical deficits. You can't fix everything at once, so start with your lowest 2. Step 2. Schedule rest like it's a meeting. Here's the brutal truth. Rest won't just happen. You have to be as intentional about rest as you are about productivity. Block out 15 minutes of sensory rest in the morning. Schedule a weekly coffee with that friend who energizes you. Put creative rest on your calendar and actually do it. Step 4. Stack your rest. You can combine types of rest. A walk in nature without your phone, that's physical, sensory, creative, and potentially spiritual rest all at once. A deep conversation with a close friend, social and emotional rest combined. Step 5. Track and adjust. After 2 weeks, rate yourself again in those 7 areas. What's improving? What's still struggling? This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness and intentionality. Look, I get it. Adding 7 types of rest to your already overwhelming life sounds like just another thing you're failing at. But here's what most people don't realize. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're resting wrong. Your brain is an incredibly sophisticated system that needs different types of fuel in recovery. So you wouldn't put diesel in a gasoline car and wonder why it's breaking down, right? So stop trying to fix mental exhaustion with physical sleep or emotional depletion with sensory distraction. The most productive, creative, and fulfilled people aren't the ones who grind harder, they're the ones who rest smarter. So here's your challenge. Pick one type of rest you're neglecting, just one, and for the next 7 days, give yourself 15 minutes of intentional, that specific rest, not as a reward for productivity, but as a requirement for being human. If this video finally helped you understand why you're exhausted all the time, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more psychology that actually makes sense. Drop a comment telling me which type of rest you're most efficient in. I read every single one. And remember, rest isn't weakness. It's strategy. I'll see you in the next one.